Welcome to this Dr. Frost video on key skills. In this video, I'm going to show you what we mean by key skill on the website, and I'm also going to show you what it will feel like as a student to do some key skill practice. However, I'm not going to go through the whole process of setting a task in this video, so if you're looking for support on setting tasks, please have a look at some of the other videos available. Okay, so to find the key skills, you can either go to the blue Set a Task button on the dashboard, or you can go up to the menu and you can set a task like so. The key skills are found in the By Topic section, and you'll see that they're either organised by UK curriculum or by course. So if you have either made your own course on Dr. Frost, or perhaps you've taken one from our exam boards and publishers, then you can search for your key skills via the course. So for example, this is the Edexcel GCSE Higher course in the exam board and publishers area. Let me just go back to the UK curriculum, and I'm just going to browse this way. So we can go into the Key Stage 3 and 4 area, perhaps we can go into algebra, and then we can look at all of the different topics available. So I'm going to choose expanding brackets, and now I can see all of the different skills on expanding brackets. So we've got skill 83, expand a single bracket, and then if you scroll down, you can see all the different skills. So double brackets, 3 brackets, and then even down to the binomial expansion. Now, the skill is then broken down into different subskills. The first subskill will always have an E code, and this is flagging your exam practice. So here I would be looking at any exam question that we have where the skill of expanding a single bracket is required, and I can browse through those questions and I could set some exam practice tasks. The rest of the codes you see have these Ks. So these are now talking about our key skills. So expand a single bracket with an integer on the front, and you can have a read and you can see how kind of fine-grained these key skills get. So for example, that last one is looking at expanding 2 sets of brackets and then just focusing on where the second bracket has a negative coefficient. If you ever want to have a look at the example, then just select example here. This is going to be really helpful, firstly, to see what the question will look like, but also if you use the refresh button, then you can see the variation that's available within that particular key skill. And I recommend doing this if you are thinking about doing flexible practice for your students, then just hitting that refresh button a few times is going to help you feel confident that you know your students are ready to do that kind of work. Okay, so this is explaining the key skills. The other thing to point out is the difficulty rating. So everywhere on the website, we work with a difficulty rating between 1 and 4. So you can see each of these different key skills has been given a different difficulty. Now, this again becomes important if you're thinking about flexible practice and if you're thinking about differentiation. If you're interested in flexible practice, please check out the video where I go through specifically looking at setting flexible tasks to your students. But one thing I just want to point out now is that because we only work between difficulty 1 and difficulty 4, this key skill here, being difficulty 4, is obviously going to be a bit easier than looking at a key skill difficulty 4 within the binomial expansion. So it's all just kind of relative within the particular skill that you're looking at. Now, the other thing that I said I'd show you in this video is what it will feel like as a student to complete some practice on Dr. Frost. So I'm just going to select a couple of these key skills. So let's go for the integer in the front, an algebraic term in the front, and then perhaps one where we need to collect like terms as well. Now I'm going to hit have a go over here. Now this isn't me setting a task, this is just purely me showing you now what the interface looks like as the students were to complete these key skills. So let's keep on going until I say. Okay, so up pops the question, and then there's an answer box for the students just to pop in their answer. So as they get it correct, you'll see it talks about their mastery up on the top left. So in this case, the mastery stayed the same. They've got the answer correct, so they get a short explanation because there's not actually that many steps involved in this case, but they'll always see on the right-hand side the mathematics that was required of them. As they move on to the next question, perhaps we'll just get this wrong for a moment. If they submit their answer and they get it wrong, then the default is to give the students a moment just to think, pause and change their answer. This is when you're setting a task, this is the warn when wrong option. And if you want to remove this option on a particular task, then you're very welcome to. If they're really struggling, then they've got the option at the top to watch a worked example. So by just clicking on that link there, up pops the video focusing on the key skill, expanding 2 sets of brackets and collecting like terms. You can see the kind of examples that Jamie's going to run through there. And the idea behind this video is that the video is only sort of between 3 and 4 minutes in length, and the 2 examples the student's going to see is going to directly relate to the question that they're stuck on, without any kind of unnecessary mathematics to watch. So they could watch that video, then they can just X out of it. They don't have to navigate away, and then they can just go back in, and then they can pop in their answer. So let's now get it correct. So 12x plus 2 plus 4 is at 6. Ooh. Now in this case, we can see my mastery has increased at the top, and here's an example of where there's a few more steps in the method, and the student can read through that mathematics. Okay, one last thing to point out in terms of what it will feel like as the user is that we've got this pen icon up at the top right, and if the student clicks on that pen icon, then up pops a side whiteboard. And there's nothing to stop the students. This is me just using my mouse, but obviously if the student has a stylus, then this can become even more beneficial, and the student can record their working on the side whiteboard. And again, as the teacher, when you are setting a task, you've got the option for Dr. Frost to actually save this working so that you and your students can have a discussion about the kind of working that was available. Okay, obviously, I'm not going to actually show you the full written method there. Okay, but that's the idea behind the students completing the work on Dr. Frost, and that's also the idea behind the key skills. The last thing I'd just like to show you is if I just navigate into some key stage 5 skills, or for your senior studies students, is just the level of comprehension that we can have in terms of the feedback for our students. So I'm just going to jump into some pure mathematics, and perhaps I'll go into exponents and logarithms, and I can look at solving logarithmic equations by using the power law. Now, again, just for the demonstration purposes, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to have a go. I'm not going to spend my time working on the mathematics. Let's just say it's a 3. Oh, the chance of me getting that correct was very unlikely. Okay, so x is 3 or x is 2. What I wanted to show you was just the level of explanation that the student's going to get supported with there. So I was anticipating it was going to say incorrect, for the student to be able to look at the written method, and then that can feed back into their next question. So yeah, as the questions get difficult on Dr. Frost, or as there's many steps in the process, then the student's going to be fully supported with their working. Okay, so that is our Dr. Frost training video on looking at key skills. Please check out some of the other videos available on the website to help you get the most out of drfrost.com.